scorched grasslands to a labyrinth of deepest green. Two worlds, one continent. Where light is a luxury, life grows ever more fragile and ever more fierce. Death is not always loud. Sometimes it arrives in silence. In the world of predators, the smallest miscalculation is paid for with a life. There are no second chances. Welcome to Wildverse, where we explore the most hidden and magnificent corners of this planet. Under the scorching midday sun of the East African savanna, not a single cloud offers shelter. Golden grass stretches to the horizon like a vast carpet woven by time across millions of years. Hot wind sweeps across the short, dry season grass, carrying the scent of cracked earth and sun-bleached pollen. Heat shimmers rise from the ground like invisible curtains. In the middle of the grassland, three golden shapes lie motionless. Not a single muscle twitches, not a single ear turns. The grass holds its breath. Three lionesses press themselves flat against the ground, fur blending with the withered grass, eyes half open waiting. They have been here since before noon. Less than 300 feet away, a group of warthogs graze. They kneel on the calloused pads of their wrists, heads low, snouts ploughing the soil for tender roots. Each adult warthog weighs between 130 and 330 pounds, shoulders standing roughly 25 to 33 inches high, far shorter than the predator stalking them. Tails held straight like antennae, while moving a herd-keeping signal, a silent method of communication that has persisted through millions of years of evolution. But today, that signal arrives too late. The wind carries it in the wrong direction. A female warthog separates from the group, moving toward shorter grass where visibility opens wide, but cover vanishes entirely. A fatal mistake. The lioness on the left flank begins to move, belly pressed to the earth, each step measured like a heartbeat. She advances while the other two fan out on either side, the classic ambush formation. "30 feet, 20 feet. Dry grass rustles beneath her belly. The warthog lifts its head for an instant, then lowers it again. 10 feet. The central lioness explodes. 50 miles per hour in under 3 seconds, 300 pounds of raw muscle hurtling across the short grass. The warthog bolts at 30 miles per hour, cutting sharp, unpredictable angles, but the distance is already too short. Physics favors the hunter. A forepaw strikes the prey's ankle tapping executed with precision, measured in tenths of a second. The warthog crashes forward. Jaws, delivering 650 psi of bite force clamp around the throat. The chase ends in under 8 seconds. the savannah barely noticed. The lionesses converge around the kill. No chaotic scramble, each one knows her place in a hierarchy shaped from the moment of birth. Yet the hunt just witnessed is the exception. Most lion hunts unfold under the cover of twilight, when the savannah cools and shadows lengthen. During daylight, success rates hover around 17% for solo attempts, rising to 30% when the full pride coordinates. The dry season forces the gamble. Shorter grass means clearer sight lines for both sides, hunter and hunted alike. Every advantage is temporary. Warthogs are no easy prey. Upper tusks grow up to 10 inches long, and old males can carry curved tusks reaching 24 inches. The lower tusks measure only about 5 inches, but are razor sharp enough to slice open the belly of any attacker. And they possess a defensive tactic few species can match. When pursued, a warthog dives into its burrow backward rump first, face turned outward, tusks aimed directly at the enemy. A living fortress, few predators dare reach inside. Lion's the only cat on Earth that lives in organized social groups. A typical pride comprises 5 to 15 related females, 2 to 3 males, and their growing cubs. Males patrol the territory, their dark manes a badge of high testosterone and robust health. The blacker and thicker the mane, the more formidable its bearer appears to allies and rivals alike. A lion's roar carries 5 miles, powered by uniquely square-shaped vocal folds, a territorial declaration that rolls across the savannah each time the sun drops below the horizon. But strength does not guarantee survival. 80% of lion cubs perish before reaching the age of 2, claimed by starvation, disease, or incoming males that seize power and slaughter the young of their predecessor. The International Union for Conservation of Nature lists the lion as vulnerable. Only 20,000 to 23,000 individuals remain in the wild, a decline exceeding 43% in just 2 decades. The cat that once roamed across all of Africa now clings to shrinking patches of protected land. Fences replace horizons. Roads carve through territories. But lions need sunlight. They need open savanna. They need clear sightlines. Without these, they are diminished. Hundreds of miles to the west, beyond the rift valleys and volcanic highlands, there exists a world where sunlight never touches the ground. The Congo River, 2,920 miles long, the deepest river on Earth, with points plunging beyond 720 feet winds, through the heart of Africa, like a boundary drawn in the earliest ages. And on both banks of that river, the Congo rainforest spreads across nearly 700,000 square miles through 6 nations, the second largest tropical forest on the planet, surpassed only by the Amazon. Here, perpetual shade holds dominion. Light cannot penetrate a canopy stacked 3 and 4 layers deep. The air hangs heavy with moisture, rich with the scent of rotting wood and living moss. In the Congo rainforest, the strongest is not the fastest, but the one that waits the longest. Speed is irrelevant here. Mist rises from the still water surface. Reeds taller than a grown person line the swamp in dense ranks. Not a single ripple disturbs the glassy calm. And within that silence, a figure stands, as still as carved stone. Minutes pass, nothing moves. The shoebill, 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall, wingspan stretching 8.5 feet, it stands on long legs in shallow water, completely motionless. The bill, roughly 8 inches long, broad and heavy as an old wooden clog, is the only weapon it needs. It does not stalk. It does not chase. It simply stands 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes longer eyes locked on the water, waiting for a lungfish shadow below. Patience in its purest form, a strategy older than any mammalian brain. Then, in 1/10 of a second, everything changes. The enormous head plunges downward, bill splaying wide, crashing into the water with force enough to seal every escape. The lungfish thrashes inside a bill that snaps shut like a steel trap. The shoebill clamps down, shakes off the water, swallows, then returns to its position, motionless, as if nothing had occurred. The shoebill's prey extends beyond lungfish, snakes, lizards, frogs, even small fish. Anything passing through its waters risks becoming a meal. It is the lungfish, that primordial fish, equipped with actual lungs, forced to surface for air, that betrays its own position. Each time the fish rises, a ring of ripples spreads outward, and the shoebill counts. On the IUCN Red List, sited around the swamps of Central and East Africa. The shoebill's presence serves as a barometer of wetland health. Where the shoebill persists, the freshwater ecosystem remains intact. What makes the shoebill extraordinary is not its size or its power, but its capacity to wait, longer than any other predatory bird on the planet. In a world where speed often determines the victor, the shoebill proves that absolute stillness is also a masterpiece of evolution. In the Congo rainforest, sometimes the most dangerous thing is the one that never moves. Stillness here is not passive, it is predatory. The shoebill is not the only creature in the Congo that has mastered the art of waiting. Deeper in the forest, where light slips through narrow gaps in the canopy, another predator lies in ambush quieter, more lethal. In the lowland forests of northeastern Congo, the canopy grows so thick that the sky disappears. Afternoon light survives only as thin streaks, falling at angles through the leaves. In the middle of broad daylight, submerged in that dark green world, a tawny brown shape lies motionless on a branch 15 feet above the ground. The leopard, apex predator of the Congo's lower forest compact frame, coiled muscles, weighing 66 to 176 pounds. Rosette-patterned fur fractures its outline against dappled light. If the lion is the one that explodes across open savanna, the leopard is the one that vanishes beneath layers of somber foliage. Solitary, silent, it ambushes from tree branches or from beneath dense undergrowth. When prey passes monkeys, duiker, antelope, birds, even fish, a lightning lunge ends everything. And then comes what no other great cat can accomplish. The leopard drags its kill heavier than its own body up into a tree. One limb at a time, fangs locked into the prey's neck, shoulder and neck muscles straining as it climbs vertically 10, 15, 20 feet upward. High in the branches, the prize remains secure from scavenging red river hogs, marauding columns of army ants, and any terrestrial opportunist seeking to steal a hard-won meal. Lions hunt with the power of the pride under open sun. Leopards hunt with invisibility beneath tangled shadows. Same great cat family, two survival strategies in complete opposition. The IUCN Red List records the leopard as vulnerable. In the Congo, they are almost ghosts, appearing and vanishing without a trace, rarely captured by camera traps. Some researchers spend entire careers without a single sighting. The shoebill's patience lies in stillness. The leopard's patience lies in invisibility. Two philosophies, same result. Both obey the same law. In the Congo rainforest, the one that waits best is the one that eats. Everything else starves. The leopard is not the only resident here. At higher elevations, where mist blankets the slopes and temperatures fall, an enormous dark shape moves slowly through damp moss. What advances needs no concealment, no speed, no invisibility, only presence. The Virunga Mountains. Mist wraps around moss-covered volcanoes at elevations ranging from 7,200 to 14,100 feet. 8 volcanoes in a chain, 2 still active. Here, the air is thin and damp, the ground carpeted with leaf litter several feet deep, and sound is swallowed by fog before it can travel far. A massive frame emerges through the undergrowth, silver gleaming along the back through the mist, a silverback, 300 to 485 pounds, up to 5.5 feet tall. The mountain gorilla, the largest living primate on the planet, and one of the species that compels humans to question the line between us and them. A silverback leads a group of 5 to 30 individuals, all dependent on a single male, for protection, navigation, and conflict resolution. Each morning, the group wakes from sleeping nests woven from branches and leaves each individual in its own nest, freshly built at the end of every day. The silverback leaves his last, only after confirming that all is calm. They move slowly through bamboo forest and dense vegetation, pausing to feed young leaves, bamboo shoots, roots, occasionally fruit. Feeding occupies most of the day, an unhurried rhythm of life that few primates possess the physical dominance to sustain. That tranquility can easily lead one to assume gorillas are gentle beyond all measure. The truth is far more complex. A strange noise at the forest edge, perhaps a young male gorilla from another group, perhaps a sign of human presence. The silverback rises. Chest inflated. Two enormous hands pound down on the chest. The sound of chest beating carries over a mile through the Virunga mist, a deep thudding resonance like war drums. He snaps a large branch with one hand, advances several steps toward the sound. Eyes locked, shoulders coiled. This is not an attack, this is a boundary. Cross it, and everything changes. The forest knows the difference between warning and war. The danger passes. The silverback lowers his shoulders, returns to the group. Females clutch their infants. Several young ones peer curiously over their mother's shoulders, eyes wide. The slow rhythm resumes. Feeding, moving, resting, feeding again. Patience here is not about waiting for prey. It is about waiting for the young to grow strong, through one rainy season and then another dry. Gorilla footprints churn the soil each day, creating gaps that let light filter down to the lower tier seedlings push upward. Their dung serves as nutrient-rich natural fertilizer. The Virunga forest regenerates piece by piece, carried forward by the footsteps of its largest primate, an ecosystem shaped not by wind or water, but by knuckles and weight. And perhaps the greatest miracle of the mountain gorilla lies in a single number, 1063. That is the total number surviving divided between the Virunga Range and Bwindi Forest. In 2018, The IUCN downgraded their status from critically endangered to endangered, one of the century's finest conservation victories. Pulled back from the brink of extinction through decades, epidemic, a single armed conflict, a single wave of deforestation. Any one event could reverse it all. The silverback does not know this. He knows only to protect his family each day, one day at a time, a patience that spans an entire lifetime. Gorillas are not the only primates in need of protection in the Congo. On canopy branches below the Virunga highlands, another monkey moves so conspicuous it seems to challenge the very forest trying to conceal it. High in the canopy, 40 to 50 feet above the ground, a black and white shape launches across the gap between two branches, long white fur streaming behind like a cape unfurling in the wind. The black and white colobus. Jet black fur covers most of the body, but from shoulders to lower back, a cape of fringed white fur fans out, so striking it once drove them to the brink of extinction for their pelts. Weighing 11 to 31 pounds, a tail up to 35 inches long covered in white fur splaying out like a feathered brush used as a rudder when leaping between branches 50 feet apart. The name colobus derives from the ancient Greek word meaning mutilated, because their thumbs have nearly vanished, reduced to a small nub. Evolution traded the gripping thumb for brachiation speed. Four-fingered hands transformed into perfect hooks, grasping and releasing branches in the blink of an eye. They live in small groups of 8 to 15 individuals, one adult male leading several females and juveniles. Territory is declared through deep booming calls at dawn, echoing through the canopy like a warning. What makes the black and white colobus irreplaceable in the Congo forest lies in its stomach, not in speed, not in strength, in digestion. Unlike most monkeys, the colobus possesses a multi-chambered stomach resembling a cow's, enabling it to digest mature leaves, tough foliage, even toxic leaves no other primate dares touch. They are the most specialized leaf eaters in the primate world. While gorillas feed on bamboo shoots and leopards stalk prey on the ground, colobus monkeys process the leaves that the Congo produces in surplus yet few can consume. Infants are born covered entirely in pure white fur, a vivid contrast against the jet-black coat of the mother. In the first months, the entire group shares care, a communal babysitting system rarely seen among primates. The white fur of the young gradually darkens as they mature, as though the somber depths of the Congo slowly seep into every fiber, a transition that takes roughly 5 months. Yet that striking white fur on both infants and adults is not always an advantage. Against the deep green of the canopy, a fluttering white cape is a signal that predators above never miss. And that predator is circling silent, patient, with eyes capable of detecting a small movement from hundreds of feet away. The IUCN lists the eastern black and white colobus as least concern, but across many regions of the Congo forest, populations are declining due to habitat loss and hunting. Gorillas protect their families through sheer physical dominance. Colobus monkeys protect themselves through brachiation, speed, and constant vigilance. Both inhabit the same mountain range, the same forest, yet occupy two different ecological tiers: gorillas on the ground, colobus in the upper canopy, and both face threats descending from above the leaves. This vast green network extends its enormous root systems across the borders of 6 nations, from Cameroon to Gabon, from Equatorial Guinea deep into the Democratic Republic of the Congo. More than 10,000 plant species inhabit this place, 30% of which are endemic, found nowhere else on Earth. 400 species of mammal, over 1,000 species of bird. The Congo Basin is called the green lung of Africa, but perhaps the heart is more accurate, for it is this ecosystem that pumps life into the entire continent. And hidden beneath the forest's surface, a discovery that stunned the scientific world. Cuvette Centrale, the largest peatland on the planet, spanning 64,700 square miles, storing approximately 30 billion tons of carbon. This ecosystem was not comprehensively mapped until 2017, meaning that until fewer than 10 years ago, humanity did not know where one of the most critical carbon reserves on the planet lay. If this peatland is disturbed by logging, mining, or climate change, 30 billion tons of carbon will be released into the atmosphere. The Congo River, that churning current, concealing the deepest chasms on Earth, does not merely divide forest. It carves an evolutionary boundary of brutal finality. Northern species have not crossed to the south for millions of years. Virunga National Park, the oldest in Africa, established in 1925, spanning roughly 3,000 square miles, where volcanoes remain active shelters both the gorillas and the colobus encountered earlier. Every protected acre is a promise that what lies within will still exist for the next generation. Life on the Congo canopy belongs not only to the colobus and the creatures that hide. On the forest floor below, a horde of hundreds is on the march, carrying the most vivid markings in the entire primate world. The Congo forest floor. Morning. Light filters through the canopy just enough to distinguish rotting leaves from damp soil. A faint rustle, then a second, a third, then the entire forest floor erupts into motion. Hundreds of shapes move at once, not a small troop of 10 or 20. This is an army sometimes exceeding 600 to 800 individuals, sweeping across the forest floor like a living tide. The mandrill, the largest monkey among Old World primates, adult males, weighing 70 to 119 pounds, nearly 3 times the size of a female. It is not size that makes the mandrill unmistakable. It is the face. No mask in nature rivals this display. Two bony ridges run vertically along the nose, blazing cobalt blue. Between them, a vivid scarlet stripe runs down the bridge like a streak of war paint. The muzzle extends forward, pink lips framed by a pale golden beard. No primate on Earth wears a palette this vivid across its face. And this is not decoration, it is language. Each shade broadcasts status. The brighter the colors, the healthier and more dominant the bearer. High testosterone drives facial pigments to burn more intensely. The alpha male wears the brightest face. A deposed male fades. A wordless election held every single day. No ballots, no speeches, only biology. A mandrill horde moves primarily on the ground, flipping leaves for fallen fruit, seeds, insects, occasionally small lizards or scorpions. They are the supreme opportunistic omnivores of the Congo forest. 600 mouths scour the forest floor each day, flipping leaves, digging soil, stripping bark, reshaping the microecology beneath their feet in ways few notice. Females and infants occupy the center of the horde, the safest position. Young males patrol the outer ring, more alert, more exposed. Mandrill social structure revolves around matrilineal lines. Females remain in the group for life, inheriting rank from their mothers. Males depart upon reaching adulthood. They may live alone for months before joining another horde, particularly during breeding season, when they return to compete for mating rights. When a horde moves, it generates a wall of sound calls, snapping branches, rustling leaves, spreading hundreds of feet in every direction. Every small creature in its path scatters in panic. And that very chaos attracts others. Opportunity follows disruption. Insects launch from the leaf litter. Small lizards scatter. Forest birds dive to snatch flushed prey. The mandrill horde does not merely feed itself, but inadvertently sets a banquet for an entire network of species, trailing in its wake. Yet mandrills are also prey. Leopards stalk from low branches. African rock pythons coil beneath the dense humus, and from above the canopy, another predator watches. When the horde pauses for a midday rest, several females begin grooming one another, a crucial social bonding behavior that maintains alliances and reduces tension. Juveniles tumble around the base of trees, somersaulting and grabbing each other's tails, unaware that every game is forging skills that will one day save their lives. The IUCN classifies the mandrill as vulnerable. Deforestation and the bushmeat trade are pushing the most colorful-faced primate on Earth toward a precarious edge. Gorillas wield strength. Colobus monkeys wield brachiation speed. Mandrills wield numbers. 600 pairs of watchful eyes outperform 10. Each primate species in the Congo forest carries its own survival strategy. But no strategy is sufficient against the predator circling overhead, the one that even gorillas must look up to watch as its shadow slides across the canopy. When the mandrill horde moves, smaller monkeys, colobus, blue monkeys, red-tailed monkeys are also disrupted, forced to leap between branches to clear the path. That movement sends ripples across the canopy surface, and from above, a pair of golden eyes reads every ripple, misses nothing. The crowned eagle, a wingspan of 5 feet 9 inches, not the longest among birds, but short and broad, engineered for maneuverability inside dense forest that open savanna eagles could never penetrate. Seven to 10 pounds, not large, but what it lacks in mass, it compensates with pure crushing power concentrated in its talons. The talons of a crowned eagle generate enough grip force to shatter a monkey's skull. This is one of the most powerful raptors in Africa, not the fastest or the largest, but the most precise. It perches on a high branch, head tilted, eyes scanning the canopy below, waiting. A small group of monkeys passes through colobus, trailing white capes that flutter against the dark green canopy. They do not look up, a fatal error. In the Congo, looking down means dying from above. The eagle folds its wings, plunging downward through a gap between branches, a straight vertical line, utterly silent talons spreading wide in the final fraction of a second. A branch shudders once, then stillness. It hauls the prey up to a high perch, a place beyond all competition. Atop the Congo canopy, the crowned eagle reigns without a throne. The white fur of the colobus at once its beauty and its death sentence. Against the deep green canopy, nothing stands out more than a white cape in flight. The crowned eagle knows this. It does not need to search for prey, it only needs to wait for prey to reveal itself. From the black and white colobus gliding through the canopy to the vivid mandrills below on the floor, both live beneath the eagle's shadow. Yet the threat does not come only from above. On the forest floor, where mandrills forage and light survives only, as dim streaks another predator has been lying in wait for a long time. It needs no wings, no climbing, no movement at all. Deeper into the forest interior, light grows ever more scarce. Layers of canopy stacked so dense that midday remains submerged in deep green twilight. The Congo forest floor. Dead leaves piled in layers brown, ochre, grey, dark red, a carpet of decay accumulated over millions of years, several inches thick. The smell of wet earth and fungal networks fills the air. And within that leaf litter, a creature has all but disappeared. It has been here for hours, perhaps since dawn. The Gaboon viper, Up to 6 feet long, weighing up to 18 pounds, one of the heaviest venomous snakes in all of Africa. Its girth rivals a grown man's forearm. Geometric patterns along its body, triangles, diamonds, vertical stripes, match the dry leaves so precisely that a human standing 3 feet away still would not notice. A triangular head, as wide as an adult fist, lies flat against the leaves, motionless, for hours, sometimes an entire day. Waiting costs nothing. And the fangs measuring 2 inches, the longest of any venomous snake on earth. A single strike can deliver up to 9.26 grains of venom, a yield potent enough to fell several grown adults. But the Gaboon viper does not chase. Never. It waits more patient than the shoebill, more invisible than the leopard, until prey walks directly to it. A small rodent scurries across the leaf litter, passing within inches of the triangular head without any awareness that death lies beside it. Then, in 1/1000th of a second, the strike erupts. Jaws open, fangs deploy, driving deep into the prey, venom injected. No chase, no struggle. A single blow, precise, in absolute silence. The Gaboon viper retracts its fangs, withdraws a few inches, and waits for the venom to take effect. The rodent manages a few steps before collapsing. The snake advances, begins to swallow, then returns to its original position, motionless, as though nothing had happened. In the Congo rainforest, danger does not always arrive with a roar or a scream. Sometimes it lies still beneath dry leaves, waiting in perfect silence. Three tiers, 3 hunters. The crowned eagle controls the space above the canopy. Mandrills churn the middle and forest floor. The Gaboon viper ambushes at the lowest level, each tier of the Congo forest governed by its own master. And the most silent always prevails. Noise is weakness, stillness is power. The lion opened this story with an explosion 50 miles per hour across the short grass. The Gaboon viper closes it with absolute stillness, not a single muscle twitching until the final 1,000th of a second. Two extremes of patience, two methods of killing, the same inevitable outcome. Nature never chooses favorites. But the Congo forest is not merely a kingdom of hunters. Deeper in the green darkness, where light barely reaches the forest floor, the heaviest footsteps are quietly sowing seeds for the future. Deeper into the core of the Congo forest, light becomes an ever greater luxury. 4 layers of canopy stacked upon one another transform midday into perpetual dusk. Humidity hangs at 90%, thick enough to taste. Beneath that somber vault of leaves, a sound travels through the dense forest too low for the human ear to detect clearly, yet it reverberates through the ground and tree trunks like a pulse rising from the earth itself. The low-frequency call of the forest elephant, a conversation between giants that humans cannot hear. A rare shaft of light slips through a gap in the canopy, illuminating a small clearing in the forest where a fallen ancient tree has torn a hole in the roof of green. And within that clearing, an enormous grey shape moves. 4,000 to 10,000 pounds, 2 to 5 tons, shoulders rising up to 8 feet tall, the Congo forest elephant. Noticeably smaller than the savanna elephant, with rounder ears and straight tusks pointing downward rather than curving outward. An ideal design for threading through dense forest without snagging on vines or branches. But the forest elephant's most critical role lies neither in its strength nor its size. They are the gardeners of the forest nature's most effective landscape architects. Each day, elephants consume fruit and then travel for miles. Seeds pass through the digestive tract, falling to the ground with dung, a perfect fertilizer package at sites thousands of feet from the parent tree. The tallest trees in the Congo depend on elephants to disperse their seeds. Without elephants, seeds fall beneath the mother canopy, competing for light against the very tree that produced them, and losing. Without elephants, the Congo forest would gradually become a uniform block of green species poor, stagnant like a garden abandoned to weeds, with no one left to tend it. The IUCN designates the African forest elephant as critically endangered, the final threshold before the abyss of extinction. According to the latest DNA census, the entire surviving population has dwindled to an estimated 135,000 individuals. Beneath the dense canopy, where visibility extends only a few dozen feet, low-frequency calls serve as the connective thread. Herds separated by miles maintain contact through vibrations no predator can detect. Forest elephants plant seeds with patience, not for the coming season, but for the coming century. Each heavy footfall is an investment the forest will repay decades from now. No other gardener thinks in centuries. Beneath the thickest canopy layer, less than 2% of sunlight reaches the forest floor. A world submerged in a twilight zone in the middle of the day where every sound amplifies and every movement becomes a mystery. Elephants sow seeds. Mandrills flip leaves. Gaboon vipers lie motionless among decaying foliage, each species keeping its own rhythm, each tier holding its own story, all unfolding simultaneously within a single stretch of forest. The leopard lies still on a high branch. Dissolving into the somber leaf layer of the canopy, invisibility remains its greatest weapon, even when the sun stands directly overhead. There is one creature in the Congo more patient than all the rest, so patient that the world did not know it existed until just over 100 years ago. Forest elephants sow seeds that create new stretches of woodland. Okapis feed on the young leaves of those very trees. The two species never interact directly, yet the survival of one depends on the footsteps of the other. The Democratic Republic of the Congo loses approximately 1,200,000 acres of primary forest each year, an area larger than the state of Delaware, vanishing annually. 72% of the global cobalt supply lies beneath this nation's soil. Every smartphone, every electric vehicle carries within it a piece of the Congo. Armed conflict in eastern DRC continues to directly undermine wildlife protection. Rangers killed, national park boundaries breached. The northern white rhinoceros has reached functional extinction, only 2 females remain. A stark reminder that the brink is not an abstract concept. Virunga National Park, where gorillas guard their families, still stands after a century. Salonga National Park, 12,950 square miles of protected wilderness, still shelters forest, elephants, and okapis. Yet still standing does not mean safe. Every protected acre is a promise, and a promise holds value only when someone keeps it. Conserving the Congo is not a sprint. It is the longest wait, the most patient and difficult undertaking that humanity has ever assumed. From the African savanna, where lionesses lie motionless in the grass waiting for a warthog to stray, to the marshes where the shoebill stands frozen for 30 minutes awaiting a lungfish to surface. From the tree branch where the leopard dissolves into darkness, to the forest floor where the gaboon viper merges with dry leaves, waiting in perfect silence. From the Virunga highlands, where a silverback pounds his chest to protect his family, to the canopy, where black and white colobus soar between branches, the shadow of a crowned eagle gliding above. From 600 vivid faces of mandrills turning leaves on the forest floor, to the heavy footsteps of forest elephants sowing seeds for the next century. Every ecological tier, every life, begins and ends with the same lesson. The one that waits best survives the longest. This is not metaphor. This is ecology. And perhaps that lesson is also meant for those of us who watch from afar, waiting for the Congo forest to emerge from this century intact. In the Ituri forest, sunlight slips through the gaps between leaves and gills, the lingering dewdrops. A black and white striped tail flicks softly, then vanishes behind the undergrowth. The okapi ghost of the Congo dissolves into the deep green of the canopy, as it has done for millions of years. And the forest falls silent once more, as it always has, as it always must. Thank you for joining Wildverse. The natural world still holds countless stories waiting to be told. We will see you on the next journey.